I just remember thinking, like, this is what you live for, like, as a golfer. Like, this is one of the coolest things you'll be able to do.
It doesn't matter how well he's doing. You can't tell how he's doing by looking at him because he is so even-keeled.
I'm for sure as good as I am today because of him.
That this is what a lot of my days started out as. One of the cool things is that I drove through the course to get to school, 2 minutes to get there and back. I could stay at the course as late as I wanted and get home 2 minutes after that. It was nice to have everything kind of close together, allowed me to get to places pretty quickly.
We have 3 sons, and so there's a lot of energy and a lot of activity, and they weren't rough, mean boys, but they were very active.
Tommy and Timothy 16 months apart, so they got referred to as twins a lot. And then Joey's 4 years younger than Timothy. So Tommy and Timothy went at it a lot more than what Joey and Timothy would have.
Everything we did was competition, for sure. We played a lot of basketball together, and he was definitely there for my first few swings for golf.
We were always, getting into it, whether we were playing basketball, baseball, anything in the front yard, tag. I mean, we'd have neighborhood kids over all the time, and it just seemed like we were always competing, doing something.
Pretty much whenever I started walking, that's when I remember picking up a golf club for the first time. I remember getting lessons, I think middle school age, and this was the time we were still playing a lot of sports. I found out I had a passion for it, and as that happened, I started to take golf more seriously. So Bud was a good friend of my grandfather's. He was always around the golf course and around my dad and granddad. He was a really good golfer. Even though he was much older than me, I always remember one story where he was getting ready to go play, and I was like, "Oh, you're going to play? I kind of want to play."
Jennifer, I like, "Timothy, don't bug him. He doesn't want to babysit you on the golf course." And Bud said, "No, come on, let's go. Go get your clubs."
And it was nice of him because I'm sure he wanted to go play on his own and play as many holes as he could, as fast as he could, and not play with some little 8-year-old that just wanted to tag along. But thankfully enough, he took me under his wing a little bit.
To have someone in the community like Bud that Timothy really could look up to and see, well, here's how you go and play golf. And it's hard to tell usually if he's just made birdie or just made bogey when he's walking to the next hole. And I think Bud definitely helped teach him that.
Timothy probably first came on our radar maybe about his sophomore, junior year.
It was a tournament I played in at Notre Dame's home course, and it was a pretty good field, and I won by 2. A guy by the name of Joe Gasser, who was, I think he had just graduated from Ball State but played golf here, came up to me and just introduced himself to me, and we talked a little bit, but then he went to Coach Fleck and told him about me.
He would send me texts throughout the summer saying, "Hey, you got to keep your eye on this Wiseman kid." So, I kept asking Joe, I said, what makes him so different? And he said, "Coach, he just reminds me of my teammates. Like, he's humble, he's a fierce competitor, seems like he's a really good kid." So knowing that Joe had just gone through our program kind of gave me validation that Timothy was a good fit for our program on a lot of levels. He understands what our program's about and what the expectations are. But like I said, at the end of the day, he's a fierce competitor, and I think that's what allows him to have the success that he has.
On Friday, he had tried to qualify for the Indiana, I think it was a state amateur. And I was like, it'd be funny if you don't qualify for the state amateur, but we go and qualify for the US Open.
Nobody knows me better than Tommy. That's definitely why I chose him to be my caddy. He's also one of the smartest players I know. He knows my game the best. We have a good relationship. So who else would you ask?
And as we entered the qualifier, we kind of had a number in our head that we needed to shoot to make it out. And he just kept getting closer and closer.
It was kind of an even day. Like I was just not making a lot of mistakes. And anytime I made a mistake, my putter bailed me out. Tommy probably deserves some credit for reading greens for me.
It was very nerve-wracking because we were at a golf tournament for Joey, actually. And so we were keeping up online with the online scoring.
People Joey's playing against and the other teams, they're all texting me, and they're all from across the fairway. They're holding their phone up and saying, look, Timothy just made another birdie. Everybody's following online. And
hole by hole, we were watching his scores come in, and we were watching Joey in his tournament and trying to keep up online, and it was kind of delayed. And
on my final hole of the day, my 36th hole, I had about an 8-foot birdie putt that would have gotten me to 4 under, and the greens were so severely sloped, I lipped the birdie putt out on the high side, and it rolled 25 feet, and that's when we went into the playoff.
Jennifer and I are just constantly hitting refresh. I find a Twitter feed that's showing the playoff.
I remember it so vividly, and I remember how nervous I was. I knew what was on the line, I think everybody did, but I just remember thinking, like, this is what you live for, like, as a golfer. Like, this is one of the coolest things you'll be able to do. It was just a 4-foot putt to play in the US Open. This was an article written about me when it happened, but it's just hanging up in here, and then another flag that I made out to the tap room. Yeah, this is where we came. I mean, this place was completely full the day after I qualified, and it was just really cool to see, yeah, like I said, all the people come in and support Tommy and me for what we did. We got to Shinnecock the Sunday before the tournament, which started on Thursday. And since it was early enough in the week, it wasn't too crazy. Come Tuesday and Wednesday, people start showing up for practice rounds to see all these big names. And that's when you start to hear the buzz, you know, when Tiger rolls around. There were people everywhere walking around. It was just a constant buzz that was at times hard to get off your mind.
The stage was huge. Just to go to a US Open is cool. And then, you know, you look 20 yards left and you see your brother playing. It's just crazy.
I never felt like I would be part of something like that, and to get to be there with him was very special.
I was pretty nervous, I'm not gonna lie, standing on that first tee. The main thing I was thinking was just make contact, like get it out there so where you don't have to hit another one from where you're standing.
My heart's racing and something feels weird in my stomach, and I don't think I'll ever forget it, but I'm trying to play as cool as I can.
I really wanted to be in the stands behind him when they just hear him announce for the first time, you know, from Gordon, Indiana, Timothy Wiseman.
I was looking at him, and I was so focused on him. To hear his name announced and in such, again, just such a big stage like that was very humbling.
You know, when he was competing in the US Open, he got a lot of interest, and Ball State Golf was connected to that, and it was huge for our program. I mean, anytime you're the first at whatever it is you're doing, you're a pioneer, so to speak of. And Timothy was definitely that by being the first current player to be able to play in a major championship.
I would say the biggest thing that I learned that week was just that I belonged and that I was capable of playing golf at a really high level. I think that boosted my confidence a little bit, and that's something I've taken into this season and something I'll take in to consideration the rest of my life.
I think that gave him an understanding that, you know, hey, I can compete and I can play on the hardest golf courses in the world with some of the best players in the world. So I think he's kind of tried to help the guys understand that we're playing tough golf courses, we're playing tough competition, but at the end of the day, we have the ability to be successful.
Being his older brother, there's not many people that I look up to that are younger than me. I don't know if that's just a coincidence or maybe I need to start hanging around better people, but Timothy's one of those few people that you can really look up to that's younger than you. Whether it's going into high school or junior high or junior golf, you know, maybe he's a little uncomfortable, but he never backed down from anybody, and that's why he would go out and win tournaments, and that's why he got offered from Ball State, and that's why he's there. And the same thing at the US Open. He's going up there to win.
One thing I love, and I would say one thing that I'm probably best at, is just continuing to gradually get better as I work at it. I feel like I've done that ever since I picked up a club. I've done it since high school. I've done it through college. I'm going to keep playing and just try to get better every year, every month, every week, every day. And until I stop doing that, I don't plan on putting the clubs down.